What's up everyone, Danny Lightning back with another video. So today we're going to talk about update 999 on War Robots. We're going to talk about what it's brought to the game, the nerfs, the buffs, the changes, the new stuff that's going to be going live in a few days. And we're going to talk about how all this stuff has affected the game, what's good, what's bad, and yeah, let's get to it. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. So the new Bedware Titan is coming out. We all know this thing is probably going to be unbelievably overpowered. So this is going to be the new nightmare on the battlefield. And the current nightmare, which is the Newton, is kind of in the trash can right now. People aren't going to be playing this thing. Now, as far as the Newton nerf, here's my thoughts and opinions on that. It's really good for the game. It's sucky for the players where that's the only good Titan they had. But, you know, it's good for the game. That was taking so much fun out of the game. Being picked up every 2 seconds by 6 of those things. It made the game suck. That Titan ruined the game for months. So it's good that they're kind of nerfing the stuff down to where people aren't playing it anymore. As much as it sucks for things to get nerfed, that's actually a good change for the game, okay? I hope you guys see it the same way because it sucked all the damn fun out of the game for months. It really did. But the new Titan is going to be coming out. There's going to be Titan flamethrowers. We expect those to be crazy good. It's going to have a pilot that buffs its shield. And it's going to have just, yeah, it's just going to be crazy. So the new Titan's going to be awesome. The good news is Rook is still awesome. Luchador is still awesome. Now, Rook did get nerfed. It's not quite as good as it was, but these new Titan weapons coming out, the Infernos and the Pyros, those are flamethrowers for Titan, and we all know those are going to shoot right through the Rook shield, so that's going to be a problem for the Rook. Right now, Rook is great, but I'm not sure how the Rook's going to be when those come out, so we're going to have to wait and see. Those should probably be coming out in a week or a few days or something like that. Next, they're bringing out the June with the Ultimate Calamities. I mean, that's going to be a really cool addition to the game, but unfortunately, you know, it's not going to be easy to get. It's going to be one of those deals where you're either going to have to be really lucky to get it, or you're probably going to have to spend a small fortune to get it. So, just so you know, don't expect to get the new June or Ultimate Calamities without, you know, spending some bucks. Some big bucks, probably, maybe, kinda. So, let's talk about the next thing. Alright, so we have a new Mothership coming out. This thing is basically a anti-control, right? It's going to get rid of Rust, Blind, EMP, Lockdown, and Suppression. So, yeah, we have a new anti-control Mothership that pretty much gets rid of all negative effects, or at least most of them. So the new Avalon Mothership is definitely something you're going to want to get if you can. If not, just keep playing what you got because, you know, most of the Motherships are still pretty good, especially if you can fit some good turrets on them that help you out. So there's a photo of the new Titan weapons, the new flamethrowers. Those are going to be pretty crazy. There's a photo of the new Ultimate June with the Ultimate Calamities coming out. That's going to be really fun if you can get it. Now, the next thing on the list is the targeting system. You're going to be able to choose a whole bunch of different things, which will be cool. So you can make it choose the guy that you're pointing at. You can make the crosshairs choose the guy that has the lowest health. You know, there's going to be like 5 or 6 different choices as what you want the targeting system to do. And me personally, I'm going to pick the guy my crosshairs are on because that's probably who I'm trying to shoot. If you really think about it, that's the one that makes the most sense because if you pick one of the other ones, well, it might grab the guy that's way in the back somewhere just because he has low health or something. You don't want that. You want to pick the one that if your crosshairs are pointing at it, that's the thing you want to target, right? At least I would think that's what everybody would want because that's how most games work. You target the guy that you're pointing at. If you put your crosshairs, if you're aiming at something, yeah, you want that to be the target, right? Yeah, I mean, come on. That's just common sense right there, I would think. I mean, there's going to be other options in case you want it, but that's the one I want. Alright, so now we're getting into the nerf and the buff. So Curry got a little bit of a nerf. Curry is still going to be the best robot in the game right now, in my opinion. Those nerfs, you know, they slowed him down a little bit. His weapons, his built-in weapons are not as strong, but he's still a monster. Still the best robot in the game right now. Definitely you know, after the fall of the Ochikochi and the Ophion, The Ophion kind of sucks now. Ochikochi's still pretty decent, but not what it was. The nerfs really did mess up the Ophion. That's barely worth playing anymore, so that sucks for the Ophion players. I think they kind of killed that robot off. Now the Ochikochi nerf, not a big deal, you know. It can use the ability way more often now. It's a lot easier to kill. It feels balanced. It's still good, but it feels balanced. They didn't ruin the Ochikochi, but I feel like they did ruin the Ophion. So Erebus got a shield regeneration buff, so that's really awesome for the Erebus. The Leech got a durability buff. Guys, I'm sorry. The Leech got an ability cooldown buff, right? So now his ability can be used more often, which is really awesome. So every 2 seconds sooner, you can use the Leech ability if you're playing the Leech. And Leech is kind of a cool robot. Yeah, Ochikochi got the nerf. Not a huge deal. I mean, it definitely hit him pretty hard, but now he doesn't feel like a monster that you can't kill. It feels more like just a really good normal robot, so I'm not unhappy about that one. I'll take it. Ophion, we just talked about that. That hit him really hard. I think he sucks now. Orochi is getting a 10% durability buff. Hey, that's cool. If you got an Orochi, it might be somewhat playable now, so that's kind of a cool deal. So Phantom is getting a durability buff, a speed buff, and a acceleration buff. So all that's really awesome for the Phantom. He's already a super cool robot, so Phantom is definitely good again right now, in my opinion. I love the little Phantom. It's an awesome little guy. It's super fun to play, and those buffs really helped him out big time. Revenant got a physical shield buff, so now his shield is nice and strong. So hey, that's always a plus. Revenant's shield's never really been that good, but you know, it's something, right? It's something that helps the robot out. Revenant's a cool robot. I like it. Siren's reflector shield is now doing more damage, so hey, I think that's going to bring the Siren back. On the ground, it's still going to be unbelievably squishy, but in the air, it's going to reflect 60% of the damage you do to it back to you. So that's going to make people not want to shoot that thing when it's in the air for the most part. So that, you know, for some of you guys, I think the Siren is going to be a good choice and very playable again. Wayland is getting a big defense point buff, which is going to make him a lot of fun to play. I mean, I still don't think Wayland's great. It's not something I would highly recommend. It's a really fun robot to have and play occasionally, but it's not something that I would want to put in my hanger and play every day, even after the buff. So cool robot, fun to play every once in a while. I really do like it, but not an everyday, you know, it's not going to be your best bet for an everyday driver. So Arthur just got a buff. His blast wave is going to do 10% more damage. Problem is those new Titan flamethrowers are going to shoot right through the Arthur's shield. So I don't think I really recommend running an Arthur anymore because, yeah, those flamethrowers, when people get those, they'll just rip you down through the shield. So I guess if you're playing the Arthur, you want to play him as a long distance setup. All of his abilities, Newton just got a really big durability nerf. His abilities got nerfed, and it kind of sucks now. Newton's really not worth using, in my opinion. I think they killed the Titan off, honestly. And that thing needed to be killed off. Like I said, it's just been sucking the fun out of the game for months. That's one of the worst additions we have ever had as far as taking the fun out of the game for the players. I mean, it was just no skill. It was stupid. It was ridiculous. And hopefully, in my opinion, hopefully now it's gone because I hated that piece of crap thing. So Sirius is getting a 1.5% healing buff. So, you know, I played the Sirius on my live stream yesterday, and it's a good Titan, but that little teeny bit, that 1.5% per second healing buff, I didn't even notice it. It felt like the same exact Titan. That buff really didn't help the Sirius out much at all. I mean, it helped it out, but it's not that great. You know, it didn't do much. So Sirius is still a cool Titan, but it didn't really buff him up the way we thought it was going to. And it says the Rook got a bunch of nerfs. Like his shield got a nerf, the ability time got a nerf, his ability doesn't do as much damage. I still think the Rook is quite good. I played him for several games so far yesterday, and yeah, I like it. Like I said, though, I think those new Titan flamethrowers are going to be a big problem for the Rook. They're just going to kill you right through the shield. So that's kind of like, you know, a nerf to the rook in itself. So once people get those flamethrowers, anything with a shield's gonna be crap once those titans come out. So that's just something to think about before building up a shield robot, or at least something with a physical shield right now. So the Hoko drone just got a kind of a buff and a nerf at the same time. I think it's still going to be a great drone. Those changes aren't really, there's some good changes, a few bad changes, but the Hoko is still really good. Now Kestrel got a major change, so it now works with stealth. So if your robot doesn't have stealth, it's probably not going to be the best drone, right? It used to do something completely different. Now you got on stealth fix. So every time you go in and out of stealth, you're actually going to fix your robot. So it's going to be great for stealth robots, but not so good for robots that are not running stealth, except for it will give you a lot of speed when you get a kill. So that's a plus, right? Plus it's got the, whatever you want to call it, the death mark. So I mean, it's still going to be good on anything, but it's actually going to work best on stealth bots. So the whiteout drone just got a small buff. Like when you hit somebody with the whiteout, it does damage. So now it does 10% more damage. Not really a big deal, but hey, that's a nice little nerf. I mean buff. Why do I keep saying nerf when I mean buff? That's a buff. That's a buff. That's a buff. One thing that I'm pretty happy about and unhappy about is they're starting to nerf motherships and turrets. So the gravity craplifiers, or gravity amplifiers you should say, got nerfed. They're not going to slow you down as much. They're not going to do as much damage. So I mean, that's a good thing for the game, but it just shows you that nothing in the game is safe from being rebalanced. Not the ultimate stuff, not the motherships, not the turrets. Everything is capable of being rebalanced. Now the Paladin Mothership got a pretty big downgrade, right? It's not going to repair as much grade damage. The shield's not going to be as good. So unfortunately, Paladin's not going to be that great anymore. It's still going to be an okay Mothership, but it got hit kind of hard. All right, the mute, it's only going to mute you for 7 seconds instead of 11. The mute is still going to be very, very good. It's just not going to be, 11 seconds was way too long. 7's a long time, guys. 11 was just overkill. So that was something we actually needed, I would say. All right, so Frozen Scorn is going to be doing 20% more damage. So it got a pretty big damage buff, but on the slowdown effect that it gives you, that got a huge nerf, so I don't expect the slowdown effect to be that good, but the extra 20% damage is definitely nice. So Frozen Scorn is still going to be okay. It's not going to be like the greatest. The slowdown effect is getting a huge hit, like huge. It used to have 9 stacks, now it looks like it has 80. That's, yeah, I don't know about that one, honestly. Alright, so when it comes to the weapons, the Arbalest got a really nice buff. I don't think anybody's going to use those anyway. The Banes got a nice DOT buff. So Banes got buffed. That's pretty cool right there. Cryos got 5% more damage and a shorter reload. So that's going to make the Cryos a lot nicer. If you like rocket weapons, that might actually make them worth playing again. 17 seconds to 15 seconds, 15 is still a very long reload, so that's not a short reload. That's still a long reload. I'd rather see it be like 12 or 10, but it's at 15 currently. The Flux are getting a 7% damage buff. I think they're still going to suck, right? Hell Scotty Snare is getting 15% more damage. Those robots, those weapons aren't really worth playing right now, but that 15% damage is definitely an improvement. It'll probably make them like halfway decent. If you got them, try them out. I definitely wouldn't buy any or build any, but if you got them, throw them on there and try them out and see if you like it. You might be like, hey, these aren't too bad, but I don't expect that to do anything crazy to them. So basically, Hydra got a 5% damage buff, and I think they get a little more splash damage. So, that's cool. Hydras aren't anything great, but that's something. Ion got a 5% buff. Ion's actually a really good weapon. Last time I played the Ion, I was pretty impressed with it. If you got some Ions, throw them on, play them, see how they do. I wouldn't build or buy any, but if you already got them, hey, give them a try. You might like them again. So the grenade launcher weapons like the Kisphos, Labrys, and Cestus all got big damage decreases, and the blast charge speed is down. Those really aren't going to be that great anymore, so, they're just going to be kind of mediocre weapons at this point. So Reaper got a big damage decrease and a much longer reload. So yeah, 15 seconds in between shots. I think that's going to kill off the Reapers, guys. 15 seconds is a really long time to get your shots off, and that's 15 seconds where you're going to be like pop, 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 and then you have 15 seconds where you can't defend yourself at all if somebody comes at you. So yeah, that's too long of even 12 was a long time, but they also, they also got decreased damage, so I don't think those weapons are going to be good anymore. So the Smuta, which are the bending machine gun weapons, just got a 15% damage buff, so that's going to make those pretty good. I always like those weapons, actually. They're still pretty decent weapons. They're not great weapons right now, but they're nice weapons. Alright, Spark is getting 10% damage. Only problem with the Spark is you do have to worry about the lock-on time, so that kind of ruins the Sparks when there's a bunch of robots going in and out of stealth all the time, and right now there's still robots going in and out of stealth all the time, so I wouldn't play the Sparks. I don't think they're right for the current meta or the current bots that are on the battlefield. You're not going to have a good time with Spark, Calamity, and Scourge because of the lock-on. Now, the ultimate Calamities that are coming out are not going to have a lock-on, so they're actually going to be good. So the Splinters, the Shatter, and the Brisant shotguns, they're down to 500 meter range instead of... No, I'm sorry. They've got a buff up to 600 meters. So they got more range, which is really cool. But they also got some nerfs. I think they're still good weapons. I think they're still very playable. They're not overpowered like they were. I think they're a nice balanced weapon now. I don't think they're bad. I don't think this has killed them off. I mean, they did get a range buff, so there's some pluses and minuses on what they've done to the Splinters. Anything at 600 meters, it's nice to have some more 600 meter weapons to play. So I think that's just fine. I mean, I played these things. They're definitely not doing the damage they were, but I think they're still good weapons overall. So Tamer, Damper, Trickster, Deceiver, these only have a 500 meter range now instead of a 600 meter range. I think that sucks. So the Trickster and the Deceiver have DOT. The DOT is not going to be very good anymore, so I think those weapons kind of suck at the moment. I mean, they're still going to be okay, but not very good. Now the Tamer and Damper, I mean, at 500 meter range, they're still going to have some rust effects, so I don't think they're going to be bad, right? But they're not as good as they were. I think Tamer Damper is still going to be a decent weapon, just not a super overpowered weapon. I mean, you're still going to have a hard time healing when they hit you, but you'll be able to heal a little bit more, I do believe. So the Volt weapons got a 5% damage buff, and I say who cares? Those weapons suck anyway, so yeah, no thanks. So Titan weapons right now, I think there's only a couple that are worth playing. So like the Veyron and the Evoras, they got an 8-second reload right now, which feels like it's going to take forever. I don't see them on the list as being buffed or nerfed, but they don't feel as good. So Basilisk got a good buff, right? Cinder's got a nice buff. Grum and Squall got a nice little buff. The Fulgurs and Tonins, yeah, those got hit really hard. Those weapons now suck. And Vajra, Mahavajra, those are still doing quite good. I played them yesterday, and I really do like them. So they did get rebalanced. They're not as good as they were, but they're still hitting really hard. So if you like those weapons, you'll still like those weapons. So the Ultimate Ares got a durability buff. The Ultimate Invader got a durability buff. The Ultimate Mender durability buff. And the Ultimate Spectre durability buff, all between 10 and 13%. So hey, that's cool, I guess. Ultimate Avengers. These aren't the regular ones. These are the special Ultimate Edition ones. So Ultimate Avengers got a 15% damage buff. So the Blaze, right? The Blaze and the Igniters, which are the ultimate flamethrowers, they kind of got buffed and nerfed. Still awesome weapons, all right? That's not really a nerf. What they did to them is kind of making them better in some ways, not as good in other ways. So it's not really a nerf. It's more of a buff in my opinion. They're just not going to slow down people as much, but they're still going to be super good in my opinion. I don't know. I like them. I think they're cool. I mean, the Blaze did get a damage buff, but, you know, the slowdown is not as good. So more damage, less slowdown, basically. So Ultimate Orkin got 10% damage, Ultimate Pulsar 10% damage, Ultimate Punisher T 15% damage. And then we have a bunch of bug fixes and whatnot. So yeah, there's all the nerfs, there's the buffs, there's my thoughts on all the stuff. I know there's going to be an Ultimate Destrier coming out, and I'm not really sure where people were finding all the information and some sort of new game mode for the Destrier. I have no idea what that's about. I can't really find any information on it, so I'm missing something somewhere. But yeah, I guess on the test server, there's an Ultimate Destrier. I mean, I personally don't get it. I don't know why they would do this, but Ultimate Destrier is going to be coming out eventually. I don't know. I don't want to play that. I don't know about you, but I don't want to play Ultimate Destrier. I really don't. So that's basically what's going on with the nerfs, the buffs, the changes. I mean, the new Titan's really going to change the game drastically. It's going to make the Rook crap. It's going to make the Arthur crap, just because those flamethrowers are going to go right through those shields. I mean, honestly, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So I think that the Eiffel is going to be a killer Titan still. I think the new Titan is going to be super amazing. And, you know, I think Rook's still going to be okay. I think Sirius is going to be a nice Titan. Nodens is going to be a nice Titan, depending on how you're trying to play, right? We'll have to figure out after all this stuff comes out and we really get to play most of it for a long time. We'll get a good idea. We'll get a new Titan guide out on which are the best Titans in the game and best Titan weapons and stuff. So that's going to take a little bit of playing and experience, trial and error to figure out once the new Titan comes out and the new Titan weapons and all that junk. And I know nobody likes when their stuff gets nerfed. Nobody likes when their stuff gets buffed. Okay, well, most of us like when our stuff get buffed, but the nerfs have definitely balanced the game a little bit. The game was feeling very, very, very unbalanced, and now it feels a lot more balanced. So most of these things were good for the game, and everybody's hangers that got nerfed is the same as everybody else's. So you're not really at a disadvantage right now because everybody got nerfed, not just you. The next guy's hanger is going to be the same as yours right now. So the only really big downfall is they pretty much killed off the Newton, Tonans, and Fulgurs, right? And the Ophion. So those are going to be things that people are just going to stop playing. I think they maybe hit the Ophion a little bit too hard. I mean, you can play it. It just isn't very fun or interesting or that great to play at the moment. You can play it, but it's just kind of if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's my opinion on all the new stuff. It definitely improved the game in a lot of ways. I know it sucks when your stuff gets nerfed, but you got to kind of look at it. Did it actually balance the game? I would say yes, it kind of did. It's going to make the game a little more fun. It's a better deal. Most of it's better. Not all of it, most of it, in my opinion. Anyways, this is probably a really darn long video, so anyways, yeah. Catch you guys later. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will catch you guys next time. Lightning out. Have an awesome day. See ya.